Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Jason and I'm your watch guy today. I am reviewing a Microbrand today. I have two of their watches in and they are, without a doubt, the closest thing that you'll probably get to Rolex in the Microbrand budget world. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's not uncommon to see Microbrands sell out of their stock. It happens quite regularly, but they often restock. Now, this brand is one of the only ones in the Microbrand world that I know of that has a waiting list. Yeah, just like Rolex. Probably not as long, probably not as extortionate. You know, they're not trying to get you to buy any jewellery in a shop or anything like that. But you are going to have to join plenty of other people on their waiting lists if you would like to pick up one of these watches. I'm of course talking about Helm. Now, I have been lent two watches. Now, these two have been lent to the channel by a subscriber. His name is Dave, and he is fantastically generous for doing this because I've been wanting to review a Helm for God knows how long, and he's lent me two. So, yeah, thanks, Dave. Dave is actually a really interesting guy, and from what I can figure out about his collection, it's just as interesting. Now, he does have higher-end models as well as really enjoying a budget watch, just like you or me. And he was lucky enough to get his hands on both the Komodo and the Vanuatu Titanium. Now this one is special. This one is very special. So today I am going to do a review on more on the brand that is Helm over these watches. I am going to review the watches for you too, run through the specs and the prices, and yeah, we're just going to have a really nice Helm type of day today, guys. So let me turn this camera around and let's get into these reviews. So guys, the two models that we have in, that Dave has lent to the channel so generously, are the Vanuatu Ti, or Titanium, and the Komodo. Now this one also comes in an absolutely gorgeous orange dial. I've been looking at the website and I'm very, very tempted by it. First, we're going to talk about this Vanuatu Titanium because it is the most recent release that's hit the shelves. Well, I say hit the shelves, they kind of just go in boxes and then go to the customers, I think. Yeah, there's no time to store these. So this was the latest one released. They have got an upcoming release. I think it's the Mayoko, and that looks absolutely gorgeous too, but this was the latest one. Now, it is a do-everything tool watch. It has a diver's rating of 300 meters, and yes, it is a diver's rating, not just a water resistance rating. So it is ISO 6425 compliant. It's built in G2 titanium and it's absolutely beautiful. It is bigger than the Komodo. It is bigger than the Komodo, but it does wear very well on wrist also. And it comes on this gorgeous titanium engineer bracelet. Now, the bezel on this one is also grade 2 titanium. It has a black brushed bezel insert with a loomed markings on it. You can see how intricate the measurement markings actually are around the outer edge of that bezel, and the lovely brushed finish on the ceramic just really does bring this watch together. It really gives it the tool type of feel that I think Helm will be going for here. Now let me talk to you about the dimensions of this one. It is a bigger watch, or it looks bigger, that is. It is 42.5 millimeters in diameter here to here. But if you measured the actual on-wrist size, it is 41.8. That is because this bezel is actually an overhanging bezel. As you can see there, it does protrude from the casing slightly. It is 13.5 millimeters thick, which for a dive watch, well, a diver's watch, I think that's actually quite a fair sizing. It is 50 mil lug to lug, so just within the wearable capability that I usually have. And we have 22 millimeter lugs on this one. Drilled lugs also makes it really easy to swap the bracelet in for a band on this one, and it is an absolute strap monster. It wears so well on so many different options. We have a screw down crown to the side here. It is surrounded by really robust, yes, almost curved crown guards here. We have a very large gear-like shaped crown, which is screwed down and is signed with the Helm logo. It goes really well with the bezel shape, I think. which is also a blocked gear type of shape around the outer edge there. It makes it very easy to grip hold of. Let's give that another little twist. There's 120 clicks, unidirectional, as you'd expect from a good dive watch. And everything lines up pretty well for me. This is a sapphire crystal. It is a flat sapphire crystal. And we also have a screw down case back. Now the screw down case back is emblazoned with the Helm logo with the usual information around the outer edge. This watch is much lighter than you'd probably expect it to be, and that is obviously due to the titanium build on this, and it makes it much more wearable on wrist, especially for a bigger, chunkier watch. As mentioned previously, this is a diver's 300 meters, which means it is ISO 6425 compliant, and I do believe that these are actually tested by, I think it's Matt himself. So you know that this is up to the job, above or below the waterline. Now as we move into the dial, one more thing to note is that this does have anti-reflective coating on it. However, it is the underside and it is not a coloured anti-reflective coating. We have a very matted black dial on this one, which accents the bold white painted indices very well. They're obviously loomed. We have a white minute track around the outer edge with orange dots marking the 5-minute intervals, which gives it a little splash of colour, and that splash of colour follows into this second hand I will note in a second. Get that? Second hand in a second. Now the indices themselves are rectangular or square in nature, and they are bold, legible, very easy to read, which is exactly what you want from a tool diver's watch. We have the Helm logo printed in grey at the 12 o'clock, which I think is a really nice colour match. And then below the handset, we have Divers 300 meters, automatic, titanium. I absolutely adore that dial. And you know why? It's because it's so legible that you don't really have to think about it. And it's doing every single job that it should do really, really well. Down at the 6 o'clock, the date window really gives it a nice level of symmetry. And that does aid in the aesthetic feel of this dial and this watch. Let me just open up the handset a little bit more so you can see them properly. I have not noted that this is a NH35 movement. One thing that I haven't noticed is the movement in this one. It is an NH35 movement, and I'm pretty sure aside from the new model, all of them are fitted with NH35s. Cheap, easy to maintain, and does what it should, does what it says on the tin, as my nan would say. Now, that does keep the costs on these watches down, and I'm pretty sure that this one comes in around $375, which for a titanium casing and this level of quality, I think it's an absolute bargain on the market if you can get hold of it. Now, back into the handset. The handset is a very rectangular, very robust handset. Once again, it really does flow with that design. Now, the minute hand is distinguished by the tip, which is slightly smaller, but again, in a very rectangular fashion. Almost reminds me of something my son would build on Minecraft, but it really does do the job and it really leaves a nice aesthetic to the watch. The second hand is a pencil thin orange second hand with a lollipop end. The base of the handset is coloured in black and the outer edges, which really gives a nice aesthetic to the dial itself because it goes well with the dial. It's like they're almost floating. Now, one thing that you will be very interested to see is the loom shot. So let me get the lights out and we can have a look at it. Here is the loom signature on the Helm Vanuatu Titanium. Absolutely brilliant loom. It's BGW9 and it does what it should do. It's absolutely fantastic. When I turn the lights out, when I'm either like going to bed or something like that, or I'm doing another loom shot and this is on the desk, you spot it instantly. You know that signature instantly because of those really robust hands and also the robust nature of the indices and the rectangular squared nature of those indices. The bezel is also loomed, BGW9 again. That's where you get that lovely pale blue signature. Now, it's not loomed throughout, but all the important parts are loomed, which is ideal for low light situations. I just think that they got so much right on this watch, especially for the price. It's just incredible how much they've done here. So well done to Helm. Let's carry on into this review. The engineer style bracelet on this one is really suited to the watch. And that's because it does have the same type of aesthetic as those indices, the bezel edge, the crown. It's a very, I'm going to say the word again, robust watch. And for a titanium watch, I think that's a good thing, personally. This clasp is also built in titanium, which is different to what you usually get with brands, because usually they build the clasp into stainless steel. It is a milled clasp, fold over, and it has fantastic levels of adjustment to get that right fit for you on wrist. We have screw links, and it fits so well to wrist, you know, for what it is. For the size of the watch, it just fits so nicely, especially considering I have pretty small wrists. So here is the titanium Vanuatu on wrist. Now, as I say, it fits so nicely, and I think it's very much down to the titanium build of this one. I think that because it's titanium and light and almost soft in nature in comparison to stainless steel, it really does give a nice feel on wrist. It makes it really wearable, and that's what a tool watch really needs to be. So they've done really well there. That being said, it does mean that I don't have any moans about it. And in fact, I think there's some that a lot of other people would share. Now, the bezel itself isn't the best action. It fits in place perfectly well, and it's better than a lot of titanium bezels that I have used. For some reason, titanium seems to be a tough material to work with when it comes to the bezel. Now, this one fits well. It's usable, but it doesn't give you that sort of really elegant click that you would like to have on a bezel. For instance, if we move the Komodo in here, that crisp tool-like click is just, yeah. That's like ASMR for me. It's just exactly what it should do. Yet this titanium model doesn't have that click on it, unfortunately. The curvature of lugs is absolutely fantastic. I kind of wish that it had a tapering bracelet on it, but I can let them off with that. Now, they do have plenty of other straps, and they do know that their watches are strap monsters. One other thing that I would have liked is some better coating on the titanium. It doesn't know what they have used, so it would be nice to see that. Grade 2 titanium isn't as long lasting. I don't believe it's as long lasting as stainless steel, but yeah, either information on the coating that they are using or more coating would be nice for this. And my final moan is a pretty big one. I think they've built the wrong watch. Well, what do you mean, Jason? They built the wrong watch? Well, let me introduce you to the Helm Komodo. Now, David lent me the two so I could compare them and get a real feel for the quality of Helm watches. As well as that, I'm pretty sure he shares the same opinion of myself. This is the one that they should have made in titanium. Let me just wind this little fella up. Now, it is also packed with an NH35 movement. There's a lot of similarities in this one. The quality of the build being the biggest one. However, I think this one is more of an out there design. Now, the handset really does give that away. The pale blue Super Luminova really shines through in the colour of the handset. I really don't know how to describe that handset. It's almost like a sword style handset, yet it's broken up into skeletal pieces. And yeah, it's fantastic though. Absolutely fantastic. Now, the finish on this watch, the brushed finish, absolutely gorgeous. They've gone for the horizontal brushing on the side, which I really do like. It is a very compact 40mm watch. However, it's absolutely humongous on wrist. It is 15.5mm tall, 47mm lug to lug with that Seiko-esque fit, 20mm lugs. We have female end lugs, which make it a really lovely wear. The crown protrudes, the crown guards, which are really nicely curved into this casing. We have a good level of grip on that also. NH35 movement, as mentioned. Now, it also shares that 300-meter water resistance rating. The diver's 300 meters, which is ISO compliant. We have a signed crown on it. The bezel is so easy to use, and it has that tool-like click. They also offer this one in an orange dial, as I mentioned, and I am genuinely thinking of buying one, or at least put my name on the waiting list to see what I can get. We have drilled lugs also to make this easy to change onto another strap or bracelet. The pale blue leaves an almost Tiffany effect to the dial, which is a popular one right now. However, these have been doing this for a good while. The bezel insert is also brushed very nicely, which gives it a less dramatic shine and really makes it fall into that brushed effect of the casing and the bezel itself. Very nice tooth-like, again, gear-shaped bezel on this one, which makes it very easy to get a hold of, but it does fit nicely to the casing and doesn't protrude. We have a screw down case back with the Helm logo in the center again. Now, why do I think that this one should have been the titanium model? Because of the size. The size of this. If they built this in titanium, it's a heavy watch. It's a good weighted piece, and you definitely feel it on wrist, and it almost outbalances the bracelet. That is why I think that this should be built in titanium. If they did this in titanium, I would genuinely be knocking his door down to try and pick one up, just like the rest of the population are doing right now. I very much like the crosshair effect from the indices onto the dial and the circular date window at the bottom. I think that fits the watch very well. It carries on that symmetrical sort of design to the watch. I think they've done a fantastic job, and I genuinely love the design of this watch. However, for a tool watch, I kind of needed to be a little bit more comfortable on wrist than this is, and that is why I think that this should have been the titanium choice. Now, to lead you out of this review, I don't think there's any better way than another loom shot, is there? So, let me get these lights back out, and we will conclude this video. Now, I am going to note that the Komodo is already shining before I turn the light out. Get a look at them. Wow. Even the date window has a loomed border to it. Absolutely fantastic. Amazing watches for $300 or around $300. Just well done to Helm. Well done. So finally, a review on Helm. This is a watch brand that I have been looking at since, well, before I started reviewing watches. I remember seeing them on Jodie's channel and just thinking, wow, how can you get that much watch for such a small price? And they were popular back then. Didn't have a waiting list. It was just first come, first serve. But now the waiting list really does make it much fairer to pick up these watches. It's very much like the old saying about buses, isn't it? You wait for one and then two come along at the same time. They have just released a new, more like dress diver sort of watch that is definitely worth a look. I think they're already into the thousands on the wait list, but it looks like a really, really good looking piece. A few little hints of a Blancpain in that one, the 50 fathoms. So yeah, it's an interesting piece. Definitely check that out. Again, thank you to Dave for loaning me these watches. He's been really patient with this review process, and I can't thank him enough for that. Absolutely fantastic guy, always pleasant enough to, sit and have a coffee with you before you get off with his watches. But yeah, thanks Dave. If you'd like to check Helm out, if you'd like to add yourself onto the wait list or anything like that, or just see the other models, I've linked the website in the description. Go have a look at them there. Thank you for watching this video, guys, and please, if you're not already subscribed, please remember to hit that subscribe button, especially if you made it to this bloody point. I think we're like, 15, 18 minutes in? So, yeah, if you've stuck around to this point, it's kind of just rude not to. So please remember to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.